and they left the planet, and they basically balled it up, and that's what he is. He is like all the negative.
I am evil.
Yeah, exactly. And
they left him here, so he's bored and evil, which are the worst combination.
Well, he's hurt and lonely. Yeah. And that's what Troy figures out, because she's talking to it from within the shuttle, and I really like those scenes because there's real compassion there, even for this thing that's trying to kill her and has already killed her friend.
The actress who plays Troy is really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan.
And I was talking to a friend who's like, she said there are a lot of beautiful women on Next Generation and Voyager, and I said I like how confident Troy is with her body. I enjoy that. Which she's
very lovely.
Which, I mean, it's. I had to get myself out of the mentality that, if a woman's like showing a low cut shirt and wearing a short skirt or whatever, like showing off her body, that it might not necessarily be for outward attention.
Right.
That doesn't, I mean, like, obviously, like, just, like, that doesn't mean that
everybody likes to be found attractive, but it doesn't necessarily mean they want, like, everybody in the bar hitting on them.
Yeah, or it would be like, wow, woo, catcalling them.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I mean, I had to get myself out of that mentality. Like, well, that's obvious. I mean, if you're dressing like that,
right,
that means, like, you want attention.
Right.
Which isn't necessarily true. I mean, it might be. But it could just be like, hey, that's how you feel confident. Right. You're like, I look fucking great.
Right.
And
yep.
that could be how that actress feels.
Yeah. Maybe.
So I guess the most delicate way I could put it is like I enjoy how confident she is in her body.
She is very lovely. And I don't think that the show really exploits it necessarily. I mean, there's a tiny bit of cleavage on her season 1 outfit,
which is great.
But like, it's not like in the original series where you've got like basically like a boob cup and that's it, and a skirt that stops just shy of your ass cheek.
Man,
rotten berry.
So Troy's like, I feel sorry for you, and the Skin of Evil's like, whatever, dude, and
don't you feel sorry for me?
And so they save Riker.
Picard comes down and basically like
he's like,
no, I'm not going to entertain you.
And he's like, yeah, you got to entertain me, I'm bored.
And he goes,
Picard's like, fuck off, dude.
I love that. I think he actually does go,
yeah, he does.
No, not going to do it.
And then he controls Data, and like Data has a phaser in one hand,
and he's about to shoot somebody, and he's like, you have to choose.
And he makes Data like point the phaser at Dr. Crusher's head, and he's like, how would you feel being the instrument of her death? And Data, like, pure, like, logics him, and he's like, I wouldn't be. Like, you're making me do this, so you'd be the instrument. Like, are you stupid? Or, like, just what?
Or just dumb.
Or, like, which one is it?
Which one, dumb or stupid?
And then he points at a couple of different people, then at himself, and he's like, again, dude, like, I'm not doing this. This isn't under my free will.
Right.
And Skin of Evil is like, rah, 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 rah. And then, and Picard's like, no, dude, like, we're just gonna leave. Like, we're gonna save Troy, and we're gonna get out of here.
And you're gonna be all alone forever.
Like, that's it. And I
can't remember how they beat it though.
They
how do they get
like
it?
Geordi comes down, and he knocks his visor off, and Geordi can't find it.
That hurt my feelings.
And it's like slapping a kid with glasses who really
can't see. Yeah. Like a kid who has my dad's vision. Like my dad just can't see.
Like Thomas J. from My Girl.
Without his glasses.
And Data helps him. He's like, to your right, 30 degrees to your right, whatever.
Right. But then the thing kicks it away again.
Like an asshole.
Right. But I think Picard riles him enough that the energy field around the shuttle is dissipated, and then they just beam out and leave him, right? Yeah,
and he like Armistice like and then they beam out, and Picard is like fucking quarantine that planet, like no one ever go there again. That thing deserves to fucking die alone.
And they destroy the shuttlecraft from orbit just so it can't
leave,
figure it out and leave.
And then they have a holodeck funeral for Tasha Yar
on the set of Teletubbies.
Yeah, well, when you left a comment on the Facebook post about this episode, And I hadn't seen the episode yet. And I'm like, wonder what oh, that's what he means. It absolutely does look like a Teletubby set. Maybe the guy watching the Teletubby was like, I got it.
A whole show of this.
It's like, I've got the characters, but where do they live? And it's, it's
actually,
it's a thing.
I thought the memorial was nice. It made me like the character more. Like, she has that little poem or whatever that she reads to Picard at the end. And
I liked what she said to Worf.
What did she say to him?
She's like, like my fellow warrior,
my friend.
Like, well, she calls them all friends.
Yeah, but like, I think he was really her buddy. Of all
and
of them.
And she's like, I hope I've met death, on my feet.
Yeah, that was nice. It gave the character a little bit more. It's a shame. Rob had pointed out like a lot of the characters don't really find their footing in the first season. It takes a while, and that she might have too.
Yeah, but
so, I mean, I'm not sorry she's gone. Like, she didn't make much of an impression either way, but I thought they handled the funeral pretty nicely.
And she says that Data looks at the world with childlike wonder, which makes him more human than anyone else. I'm like, not children.
Your logic is flawed.
And
Data's like, I'm not going to say anything.
I'm not going to.
Actually, Data did say something. He's like, is it wrong that I only thought about myself?
And Picard's like, no.
That's what these are for, really.
I mean, you think about like how you feel about it and your memories of her and all that. I guess it's how funerals
The funeral isn't for the dead person. It's for the people left behind.
I mean...
Because they're dead.
Yeah, what do they need?
One way or another.
What do they need another party for?
Yeah, they throw a great party for you on the one day they know you can't come.
You're always on the invited list on the Facebook event page.
But you can't go.
It's like, you can't click I'm going. Or even maybe. Like, what if you click
You can't
maybe?
even leave a post like, hey, totally dead.
Can't make it, I'm dead.
Toad's dead.
Maybe next time, but not really.
Yeah.
The next episode is We'll Always Have Paris.
This one also felt like a classic Trek episode. Scientist isolated on a planet, wreaking a little bit of havoc.
The captain has a history with the female.
Exactly. One of the senior officers has a history, like Bones had in the Salt Vampire episode. And the dude, I know you haven't been keeping up with the Orson Scott Card, but the doctor in this episode looks a lot like Orson Scott Card. So I was like hating him from the second I saw him.
You bigot. So Picard's got this history with this woman. Apparently, they had an affair. They were in love in Paris. They had a sexual rendezvous or a romantic rendezvous. I don't know.
They
if
were
consummated
supposed to meet at a cafe.
In Paris, in gay Paris, 15 years ago. Picard never showed, and I guess he was like, I'm either going to stay with this woman or I'm going to go off to Starfleet, and he chose Starfleet.
Right. Because when you're young, everything is like either or. Pretty much. All in. He was scared. He was just a scared, balding kid.
Well, the episode starts off with, they have like a severe case of deja vu.
Right. Picard's doing some fencing. And then it, like about 3 seconds, replays itself. Right. I thought there was something wrong with the Netflix app on my phone when I was watching it. I was like,
fucking phone. You shook your phone, like, because that works. That'll fix it.
Yeah, this is the 21st century.
And sure enough, they're like, we don't know, like, like the bridge experienced it too. And so they go to, they get a distress call from a planet.
Well, a time asteroid. It's like an asteroid, right?
Yeah, and this guy, like a planetoid, kind of. Yeah. Paul Mannheim, and he's like, hey, like, we need your help. Well, his wife is Picard's old paramour. Right.
And so Picard doesn't...
I guess tries to get some, like, closure by doing a holodeck version of it, and so he can, sit in.
At Counselor Troy's insistence, she's like, you need to get your shit on lockdown.
And he's like, I'm fucking fine. And she's like, just do it.
Just go to the holodeck. And,
so he goes, and only stands there for, like, a minute, and he's like, enough of this bullshit!
Make pretend nonsense.
So they go to the planetoid, and Mannheim is doing some time experiments, just tinkering with time, as never a good
scientist.
Never a good thing to do to tinker with time.
No.
Like if Back to the Future taught me anything, is you might have sex with your mom. Or your mom might want to have sex with you.
Until she actually gets her mouth on you, and then she's like, "This doesn't."
She's like, right. "What's up with that? Like, I don't like my vagina just dried up and shriveled up, just dried
like
up,
a dead
quick.
Flower.
It's like the desert down there."
That's something that's a little weird about it. I mean, like, I guess it's just since I've never kissed a family member like on the mouth, like.
Never?
Never tried. Well, maybe whenever I was a little kid, you kiss your parents or whatever. But
my daughter has this habit. She just recently started kissing me, or like kissing people, like like on the reg. Sometimes you like be able to sneak one out of her, which is weird because kids are supposed to be like kiss, yeah. But what she does is I'll pucker my lips and then she'll like pinch them with her thumb and index finger on both hands. And then just kind of like hold it there and then kiss them. Kind of like, I don't trust you to not bite my face off. Like, yeah, I'm going to lean in and then you're going to open your mouth and just like, chomp in. So I'm going to keep it cool, hotshot.
That's adorable.
I don't know why I brought that up.
We're talking about kissing family members. Yeah. So, I don't know. I thought it was a weird thing. It's like I'm kissing my brother. Like, you just know on some instinctive level, like, this is wrong.
Like on a chromosomal level.
Right.
Like this isn't the way it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to feel sexier than this.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
And so Janice shows up and she's like, "Hey, it's just me and my husband. Everyone else is dead. There's an explosion." Again, like, dude, what you're doing is
killing people.
Is not good.
And she's dressed like a character from the original series. She's got like the disco pants and like a puffy poet shirt that has holes to bear a little side.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Well, her husband's also sick, but Dr. Crusher can't figure out why he's dying. And so they're trying to figure out, like, what's going on. Data's, like, all about Dr. Mannheim. He's like, "I'm familiar with all your work," and he's like, and he says something. He's
all your theories, and he's like, "All my theories have been proved bullshit."
He's like, "I'm not like no, I'm not even familiar with all my theories. Like, and besides, they're all bullshit now, anyways." And then Data like busts out like, "Oh, so you mean you found a blah 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 blah?" And he's like, "Oh shit, so you do know what's up." I like the cut of your jib, Rubit. So
Data making friends everywhere he goes.
So Data's kind of like the point man on this,
right?
And there's a really cool point where he's like on a computer and he's like punching in some calculations and doing some research.
Eyes doing
and he starts talking to himself, kind of just like, "Oh wow, I didn't realize that blah 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 blah." And the computer's like, like doesn't recognize the command, like the voice command. And he says like, "Oh, I was just talking to myself," which is a human idiosyncratic. And
he does the baby fist pump.
And I can never say that word, idiosyncrasy.
Idiosyncrasy. Now you fucked me up. I can say idiosyncratic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Idiosyncrasy.
Syncrasy. Okay.
Idiosyncrasy.
It's one of those words. I don't know English.
Brent Spiner does. He's a master of English.
And he's like, he gets like, the baby fist bump. He gets. That's a really cool moment for Data.
That is a nice character moment. I liked that.
I told a coworker, she's filling in the bilingual slot on our team, and like I'll talk to her in Spanish, and she's like, you pretty much know Spanish. Like, why didn't you take the bilingual slot? I'm like, well, like I don't know a lot of words, a lot of the words, and I can't write it really well, and just in conversation.
I can't speak it good like you do.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, well, I don't know a lot of the words. She's like, I don't know like every word. Like sometimes I'll have to look them up. And I told her, I was like, well, like my thing is, I was like, it sounds weird to say, like, there's nothing in English I don't think I couldn't describe.
Right.
Like, if someone showed me, like, if I'd never seen an iPod before or an iPad before,
right?
Someone would be like, "What's this?" I'm like, "Oh, well, it looks like a flat computer, like a tiny, like
it's a giant phone or a small computer."
Yeah, like it's one of those things.
Right.
Like it looks.
It's a gadget.
But yeah, and so I don't know how to say gadget in Spanish. I don't know how to say tablet in Spanish. I don't know how to say the trunk of a car or the steering wheel.
Right, steering column. How do you say steering column?
I don't know how to say idiosyncrasies in Spanish.
But to be fair, that one's giving you trouble across the board.
It's just across the board: Russian, English, Spanish, French, Latin,
Chinese.
I can say it in Mandarin actually. It's Ni Hao Kai Lan.